Guys, welcome back. We are back on the couch, as you can see. This is actually a really quick setup, as you can tell, because it's a little whatever. I just felt really strongly about this one this morning, out of nowhere. Don't really know why. Something I felt strongly about before, but not in this context, not in the what else is there, the podcast context. But at Four Corners, we are currently going through 21 days of prayer, and so just had some time to kind of reflect and think, and on top of normal prayer time, on top of normal prayers, kind of dive into some other ideas and some things that I've just been, considering, or something that's been bothering me, or something on my heart, or something. And today I kind of wanted to. I mean, you've read the title. If you're here, you've probably seen the title by now. We're going to talk about worship, and I'm actually very excited. I'm very excited about this one because it's conversations I've had for years. By years, I mean probably 2. And dude, there's so much. There's so much. I have so many strong opinions on this, and I'm so excited to kind of sit down and be able to think through some stuff and be vulnerable with you guys about this topic in particular. Just some thoughts I kind of want to work through is what is worship? What does that actually entail? And so I did a little digging on the whole gotquestions.org and the whole living, breathing Word of God. And there's a few ideas. There's a few meanings. There's a few thinkings when it comes to what is worship. One of those being to pay homage to. The other one being to revere and adore. And the third one being to render religious honor. What I think is extremely obvious throughout the Bible, or what makes sense to me if you kind of read it, if you read even, for me, I haven't read the whole Bible. I've studied a chunk of it. I was about to say a good chunk, but a good chunk would mean a lot. And I wouldn't even say a whole lot, but in my time reading the Bible and in my time looking into it, I can personally see, and this is not a new idea, that worship is a lifestyle. And that should come as no shock to anybody, I hope. But it's that easy. Worship is a lifestyle. It is a way that you live. It is the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. It's that stuff. So with the idea of with how, what is worship, to revere and adore, to render religious honor, to pay homage to, what are ways that we can worship? I saw a video this one time, this short film. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before on here. I might have talked about it last episode, to be honest. And this girl was talking about, I did talk about it last episode. The girl was talking about worship. And she was like, when I started understanding that worship was a lifestyle, it changed my life because I started liking things that were mundane, or that were tasks and chores. And she was talking about doing the dishes is worship, because she does the dishes in a way she's grateful to be able to be doing the dishes, because it's now something that she's it's a gift. Like my apartment, I'm lucky to be here, so I want to take care of it because I see it as a gift. I think that's really beautiful. I think that's really beautiful. That's a mindset that I feel like I've had to grow into. Gratefulness, thankfulness. That's something that I've 100% had to grow into. And I think most people, if not everybody, has to just grow into over time. It's not easy. Being thankful is not easily achieved. It's hard because we are prideful and we are oddly arrogant for how little we have done. Especially as a Christian, you think man, how am I so arrogant for somebody who needs God to even wake up in the morning? How do I get to the point of arrogance when I can't even breathe without the Lord's breath? And so it's stuff like that. I want to get into. I actually have a verse I want to read. Oopsie. I want to get into, when it comes to worship being a lifestyle, I want to look at 1 Corinthians 10:31. Actually, I'm going to read 10. 23 through 33. So bear with me for a second. Everything is lawful, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is lawful, but not everything builds up others. Do not seek your own good, but the good of the other person. Eat anything that is sold in the marketplace without questions of conscience. For the earth and its abundance are the Lord's. If an unbeliever invites you to dinner and you want to go, eat whatever is served without asking questions of conscience. But if someone says to you, this is from a sacrifice, do not eat. Because of the one who told you and because of the conscience. I do not mean yours, but the other person's. For why is my freedom being judged by another's conscience? If I partake with thankfulness, why am I blamed for the food that I give thanks for? This is the verse. 1031 is what I'm specifically getting at. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do everything for the glory of God. Do not give offense to Jews or Greeks or to the church of God. Just as I also try to please everyone in all things, I do not seek my own benefit, but the benefit of many, so that they may be saved. Be imitators of me, just as I also am of Christ. It's Paul, so we know it's a banger. We know it's absolutely amazing. We don't have to. Paul was in his bag when writing literally anything ever. Homeboy's in prison writing better books than 99% of authors ever. By books, I mean letters, I guess. But if I'm looking specifically at 1 Corinthians 10:31, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do everything for the glory of God. Now, we've heard this. I've heard this since I was young. I've heard it every day, I feel like. As like every Sunday school, I felt like I remember hearing this. And a lot of it's because it is such a beautiful message wrapped in such a simple little sentence. Hey man, in everything you do it for the glory of God. Duh is what I, the ignorant fool, always thought for a long time. But looking at it now, I think looking at it now, I'm like, duh. Like it's a different duh. Before it was like, duh, dude, I get it. But now it's like, duh, dude. It's in front of me. Everything for God. This was given. These things, these things given to me, not of my own. So, I mean, there are radical examples where it's like, when you dress for God. When you eat for God. Like, I mean, it's taking care. The ways that we can worship it's taking care of what we've been given. And if you're following with me here, up here and in here, we've been given everything. It is all a gift. Our breath is a gift. Waking up is a gift. Being loved is a gift. Giving love is a gift. It's such a simple sentence that wraps around such a complex idea. Because when you combine the hey, do everything with the hey, you're given everything, or do everything to please God with the you're given everything by God, that's insane. It's such a simple idea that is so hard to first to live by, but also to just like think of. because you get into it and you're like, I have no idea what this could even mean. I look back at so many moments of my life and think, I can't believe I took that for granted. Whether it's a person, whether it's an item, whether it's an idea, whether it's a project. I go, man, I can't believe I just let that go. Like, I can't believe I let that thing, that person, that idea, that project, I can't believe I just forgot about it. And so you can take that two ways. God hasn't forgotten about us. And the same way that I worship those projects and ideas and in ways I don't even know about, by giving it all my time and giving it all my brain power and giving it all my strength, God gives us his time. And God gives us his love and his touch and his everything. And so you can also take that as don't treat God's gifts the way that that you treat your lost projects or lost ideas or everything. It's difficult, and I hate to break it to you. I think it's always been difficult, and it will always be difficult. I think even if I were to be someone who lives in gratefulness for days and days and days and years and years and years, I still think the next morning I'd have to wake up and force myself to thank you, God, for waking me up. I try. Look, dude. Look, guys, I tried. I try to be that guy that wakes up every morning and goes, instead of looking at my phone, I'm going to pray. And that didn't work. Not in the fact of like, I can't believe I got nothing from it. I got a lot from it. And yet I still was like, TikTok sounds awesome. Which, excuse me. Dude, 2 cups of coffee before 7 a.m. is absolutely disgusting. My body was not meant to be filled with that. Not that I didn't get anything from it, but I got a lot from it, but I still didn't like do anything with it. I was still like, man, TikTok sounds awesome. Which shout out me for at least the last 2 days. Got rid of TikTok, thank God. Just taking up a lot of time. You know what I mean? That stuff just takes up a lot of time. Social media takes up a lot of time. I think if I wasn't doing this and like wanting to promote this, I think I would honestly get rid of Instagram again, because I did it for like 4 months and it was beautiful. I also really needed it. Like I don't think that everybody should get rid of all social media, because I think it can be like an extremely powerful tool for like spreading the word of the Lord. I think social media can be worship, but it can also be the devil straight up. So that's a way that we can worship is taking care of what we've been given. Like I said, that's doing dishes, that's cleaning the living room, that's washing your car, that's cleaning your clothes. That is these mundane and boring and chore-like tasks that we're like, ugh, dude, I can't believe it. But like some people aren't even near lucky enough to have been handed these things the way we have been as followers of Christ. I didn't get a super easy way into most of the things that I have. There was struggle and strife in it, and yet it is still a gift. Difficulty receiving does not mean that it's not a gift. Sometimes you still got to work for some things. Like you still have to go through some, work is kind of a wrong word, but like you still have to go through a thing or two to receive a thing or two. Like it's bound to happen. And so other ways we can worship is like sacrificing our time, our comfort, our mindset, or anything, our everything. But that's because worship isn't about us. Worship is completely about God. That's what I see most of. And that's you know what really grinds my gears, honestly, truly and honestly, the fact that we as people, we as human beings, have just allowed ourselves to make worship like on a Sunday morning. I'm specifically talking about worship when it comes to singing. I feel like we've allowed ourselves to make it this huge production. We need the lights. We need the smoke machines. We need the fancy new instrument. Like, I understand as churches, in order to spread the gospel, keeping up is a pursuit. And it's not about competing with other churches, but it's allowing your message to be heard, yada, yada, yada. There's all this, that, whatever your opinion is on it. But what are we doing, man? It's everybody. It's everybody, and it's everywhere. And I love it, dude. And I love it. I love the lights, and I love the smoke machines. And well, we don't have a smoke machine, but I love the lights, and I love the instruments, and I love the sound. And I want it to be big. I want the speakers to be big, and I want it to be loud. And I want to praise God. I want it to be loud. I want to shake the room. But at the same time, when I reflect on it, I'm like, God, what are we doing? Why are we not just be better? But to each their own. There's a lot of great things that come out of the way worship is done in a modern way. The same way that there's probably one or two negative things that come out of it. I would definitely argue that the good outweighs the bad when it comes to how worship is done. In most cases, there are definitely churches out there that are businesses and not churches. And that is what it is. Take that for however you like. We often think, I would say 99% of us associate worship with the idea of singing, me included. And while that is an act of worship, we can also live a lifestyle of worship. Like singing fits into our lifestyle of worship. If you read, let's see, I have another verse on here. John 4:24. It's not in here. I mean, it is. Hold on now. It is in here, but I have it on here. I don't think I have my tassels set to John. John 4:24. God is spirit, and the people who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Now, hold on. The first time I ever read that, I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, what are you getting on about? But when you really take it, like, dive into it, God is spirit, and the people who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. That idea of, I'm so guilty of this. At SALT in particular, at conferences, sometimes during worship, when worship gets big, I love to dance a little bit. Not crazy. I move my arms, I'll bob, you know what I mean? I'll do my thing. But like during worship and stuff, I'll do it. And a lot of it is I'm being moved by the music. I emotionally resonate with it. And I'll say this and take it. And don't look at me weird, because I know we all do it. We all do it a little bit at some point in our life, in our walk with the Lord. I catch myself a lot thinking, I wonder what other people are thinking about my worship right now. Dude, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. What I just said is not crazy. We all do it. Don't lie to yourself, dude. You got to be honest. I sit there and I'll be worshiping and I'll be like, dude, I bet this looks so cool. Like, like I've thought that before. Like I've thought stuff like, man, I really hope so-and-so, or I hope so-and-so sees me lifting my hands right now. This is such a cool part of the song that no one else lifting their hands to. I'm going to put my hands up. Dude, what am I doing? I know we all do it. I don't throw stones at me, dude. I know that we all do it. But with that idea, with the verse and that thought in mind, let's read it one more time. God is spirit, and the people who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. And the people who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. In truth. It's got to be real in your spirit. It's got to be real to the spirit. It's got to be real. It's got to be truthful. I don't know, man. I struggle so hard because you know those times when you're worshiping and you're like, or praying, dude. And you know when you be praying and a thought will come in your mind and you're like, that is insane that my brain would even push that to the forefront of my mind. There's no way the Lord should be having to hear this right now. I feel that way a lot. Because sometimes I'll be praying and I don't even think it's spiritual warfare for real. I think my brain, like I think I just know what I shouldn't say mentally. And I'm just like, and I'll be saying it. I'm not going to give examples because it's crazy. Sometimes my brain just be pushing cuss words out into my brain while I'm praying. I'll be praying to God. I'll be like, man, today's been weird. I really feel kind of odd about everything. And my brain will just slide a cuss word in, or like an image in my head that's like not great. And I know people do that. I know that's, but like those days when you can't get locked in, when you can't focus up, that's where it feels kind of sad. That's when it feels kind of sad, because it's like, I want to worship in truth and I want to worship in spirit and in truth. But for some reason I just can't get locked in. And a lot of times on those days where I can't seem to get locked in, instead of focusing on my words, I really do my best to focus on just like clearing my brain and kind of being like a receiving kind of posture, where it's just like, if I'm having like a dedicated prayer time and I'll be trying to pray and it's not working, I've legitimately been like, all right, dude, whatever. I'll just go silence. I'll just sit there in silence and be like, well, this is it now. This is what it has to be because this is how it is. And so I think I think with, I don't know, there's a lot of there's a lot of back and forth in my brain going on right now with this idea that I'm trying to work through. With this verse, God is spirit, and the people who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. I fully believe in a God that values your effort, and a God that values your attempts, and it's not a participation trophy, but there is benefit in just participating, even when you can't get locked in. There's so much benefit. Prayer is a discipline. Living a lifestyle of worship is a discipline. Reading your Bible is a discipline. These things, even when I'm not doing them correctly, I still feel as though there's benefit to the effort. And when I say not doing it correctly, I don't mean like going out of my way to like desanctify, or you know what I mean, like, or not going out of my way, but like I think people who go out of their way to like desanctify the Bible and desanctify worship and stuff like that, like I don't think there's benefit in that, but I definitely think there's benefit to if I go into it and I'm just aimlessly wandering. If I try and read my Bible, I'm just aimlessly wandering, and I'm not really listening to the verses that I'm receiving. Like if the Lord's trying to put a verse in my heart and I'm just like, nope, next, and I read something else, I don't think I've lost. I think I've still gained. I'm just not. I didn't gain what I was supposed to be receiving. If that makes any sense. But keeping on track with the idea of worship, worship to kind of sum it up, like worship is joyful, and worship is thankful, and it is gratefulness. Like it is thankfulness, it is gratefulness, and it is joyfulness. With that though, in particular with gratefulness and thankfulness comes the idea of like you need to be aware. You need the ability of awareness, because how am I to be thankful How am I to be thankful for things I don't pay attention to? Say I'm going and doing something for somebody, and they go, "Hey, thanks for doing that." What? And they don't know that I've done anything. What did I do? And it's not about pride. Like just being aware is such a beautiful gift and such a beautiful discipline, because it really lets you see what God has been, to use some church word, cultivating inside of you, growing inside of you, teaching you. And so with gratefulness and thankfulness comes from an ability of being aware. It's important. It's extremely important. I would say a word that I can't remember right now. Because here's the thing. You have received gifts. You have been delivered from dangers and evils. You have had prayers answered. And all of these could have, and most likely have, happened to you. And I know a lot of people would say, no, they haven't. When actuality, the real problem is that eyes are just closed. Ears are just shut. Mouths are open. And if anyone knows about mouths being open and talking too much, it's this guy. And so, like, I get it. Worship is such a worship is such a difficult thing because it requires so many steps in a weird way, in a really weird way. It requires a lot of growth in when you get to a certain point, I think, because worship can be extremely simple. You can walk in and you can give it your all, and whatever it is worship is that you connect with. Beautiful, and God will be pleased. But I feel at a certain point, giving your all changes as you kind of move and grow. It's like how as you grow up, like the jump from 16 years old to 18-year-old is insane. I went from 18 living on campus in a dorm that I wasn't paying for to now I'm paying some rent and apartments and utilities and Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like I have bills, I have a car note. The jump is insane, but that's how it is. I grew. And so my responsibilities are my disciplines are a little bit different. I think your walk with Jesus, for some or for all, is the same. It's the same. Your responsibilities grow as your relationship grows. I think that's the same way that works. It's like the rule of like you don't ask somebody who you just met to help you move. But if I've known you for 3 or 4 months, yeah, you can ask me to help you move. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your responsibilities grow as that relationship grows. And I have opinions on worship music that I don't feel like really getting into, just because I could honestly rant for an hour straight on that, and I will get into it, but not this time. I want to stick to the idea of lifestyle and worship stuff that I've been mentally kind of working through today and for months. I do have like a remember kind of idea. Pardon me. Sorry, I do have like a remember idea. It's worship is a posture. It is a lifestyle. True worshipers will worship God in spirit and in truth, like the verse we saw in John 4:24. There is no one act that is the one true way to worship. Living a lifestyle of worship is to bring honor, to pay homage to revere and adore God. And if there's anything that I could beg you and myself to take away from this, is what I just said. I'm going to say it again. Worship is a posture. It is a lifestyle. True worshipers will worship God in spirit and in truth. There's no one act that is the one true way to worship. Living a lifestyle of worship is to bring honor to pay homage to, and to revere and adore God. Dude, it's such a beautiful idea. It's such a beautiful idea. In everything you do, in what you eat and drink, and in everything you do it for the honor and glory of God. It is a simple sentence that goes from a duh to a duh. It goes from a I know that to a I can't believe I didn't see that. And so I hope that you're able to, I know this is kind of a shorter one today. I hope that you're able to take that from it. This is just something that I felt really passionate about coming out of prayer this morning. I really wanted to sit down and think through this stuff with you guys. So I love you. Thank you for hanging around, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.